Yo, my name is Kieran, and this is my co-host, Ken McAnulty, and welcome to One-on-One with PK.
Free internet.
You guys use pigeons?
I don't care what you plan.
Because we want them to learn. We want them to grow.
You know I love you. I do want you.
What's up, man?
Hey, what's going on, Cole?
So I've been wondering, how do you recharge? How do you really get energy back to do the things that you know need to be done?
I'm a big proponent of personal time.
Personal time. Define that for me.
So, meaning a moment, there's a psychologist slash pastor, his name is Mark Gungor. He talks about guys have this thing called the nothing box.
Oh, yes. I love the nothing box.
And I need moments where I am doing mindless things.
Yes.
That's a lot of where I recharge personally. So
Yeah.
that may be playing video games. That may be, and when I mean mindless, I mean I'm not having to, the pressure of like trying to make an important decision, planning.
The pressure of getting it perfect.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
And so, yeah, bro. So either I'm playing video games or working out. That's where I'm just kind of not even thinking about anything. Or really those two. And then like, you can now 21st century, you can binge on Netflix or whatever. But
Right.
for the most part, that's how I recharge. And I just need a few hours and I'm Gucci.
So what about like do you ever get to the space where you've done your regular recharge, but man, it just comes to this place where it's not enough?
All the time. All the time.
Because I mean, like we're in vacation season,
Yeah.
summer vacation series or season, I guess I should say. And so how do you navigate? I know how I navigate that, but I don't know if how I navigate that is unusual or different. But how do you navigate vacations so that it's something that is restful? Because the idea there is not just vacation. It's not just get away. It's to find rest. It's to find this place where we can recharge to come back to life and have more energy.
So first, I think rest can be subjective, right? Because a lot of people can find rest in different things.
Right.
Certain people find rest in just finishing a project. Certain people find rest in reading. Certain people find rest mowing the lawn. Right now,
No.
right, a special group, the one percenters. For me right now, rest is combined with making sure my kids are blessed.
Okay.
So when we do vacation, there has to be a component for the kids there because I can't rest if they're not enjoying themselves.
Wow.
So like, vacation has never been a strong suit of mine. And our family's growing. And so now we're trying to make sure we find time. My wife is a big proponent of that. Now, hey, let's find time for us. Let's find time for the kids, so on and so forth. So just finding stuff for the kids, man. I realized we went on vacation a few weeks ago, and the kids had something to do, bro. The fact, like, just the simple joy of watching my kids enjoy themselves, and I just relaxed, was enough that I needed.
Right.
Because as a parent, you're constantly working as a parent. Don't forget, parenting is a full-time job. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like, you don't ever get a vacation from that.
Nope.
If you take vacations from that, then you are.
Well, date night.
Ooh, that's a break, not a vacation, though.
Well, date weekends. Those are a thing.
But nonetheless,
Yeah.
like, parenting is a full-time job.
It is.
So when you're able to rest and your kids are able to rest,
Right.
that's rest in itself.
See, I'm in a little bit of a different season because
Right.
my kids have both graduated. And so it looks a little bit different for us now, where it used to be that way for us too. But man, the seasons have kind of changed for us. And so for me right now, it's really finding these places and spaces to recharge and regenerate and kind of get away from, a lot of it's get away from technology for me. If I want to recharge, if I want a vacation to feel like a vacation, I need to get away from a lot of my technology.
Right.
Especially technology that connects me to work things. So email, Slack, any type of formal communication like that. Man, when those types of things happen when I'm on vacation, it's not a vacation for me.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So like for me, I like places out in nature. Like I'm not a beach guy, but like the mountains. Give me a mountain scenery with a river, and I don't mind if I have an iPad or something like that where I can play a game, but I don't want a lot of connectivity.
The disconnection
Yeah.
is what provides rest for you. So then, there's rest for an entire family, but like, what do you
Right.
do? We touched on it a little bit. What are some of the things you do to recharge yourself? Like, how do you?
So one of the things that my wife and I have been intentional to do, and this is part of the vacation thing, is we're really intentional to plan a couple of trips around busy times that are small to a place where it's isolated. And then when we're there, I'm not able to sleep really late. My body just doesn't let me do that anymore. So it's generally somewhere between 7 and 8:30 that I'm awake. My wife is not that way, so she's a little bit longer sleeper, and so when I get up, it's spending time, with God, and then spending time just kind of without anything speaking to me or speaking into me. The silence, I think, really kind of helps. It helps my brain to slow down. It helps my brain to process things. If I need to think something through, then I can. And that really kind of helps me rest. It helps me navigate those things.
Right. So then, I'm trying to because there are a lot of things. A lot of times, people don't have the opportunity to do vacations.
Right.
What about during a busy week? Like during the 7-day week.
So how do you rest, during a 7-day week?
7-day week,
Bro.
Because that's a majority of us listeners.
Sometimes that's really hard.
It is.
Sometimes that's really hard. I mean, you work 5 days a week, and then, for a lot of people, you go to church on Sunday. And so sometimes that doesn't feel like a day necessarily where you're resting. And then there's birthday parties and all these other types of things. I have tried to, and this doesn't always work, but I have tried to intentionally keep a day where we don't have anything scheduled.
Like on a weekend or something?
Yeah, like on a weekend. If I can have a day where we don't have anything scheduled and I don't feel like I have the pressure of a to-do list, then oftentimes I will come out of that day feeling rested. Now, it doesn't mean I'm not doing anything that day, but the pressure of a to-do list is something that doesn't allow me to rest. And so like even a honey-do list for that day, man, I don't want that. I won't rest. I won't feel recharged at all. For me, I would much rather come home on a weeknight and fulfill some of those obligations. I would rather do that than to come and spend my day where I'm trying to rest and recharge on that. Because at that point, I'm exhausted. I've been throwing everything in, and so I want that moment to really just isolate and rest and recharge.
The commercial, I think it was Kit Kat.
Yeah.
Give me a break.
Give me a break.
Here's what I've learned, bro. Like, man, my soul, because the things I have to realize throughout the week, because every individual is different, and it's important to self-analyze, to self-evaluate.
Well, and I think I've become different as I've grown older.
Right. Just you figured out what makes you tick,
right?
What recharges you, and so I think that's so important. I'm starting to learn that, like, man, I'm not the same if I don't do these things to give my body a break, to give myself a rest, and then you have people like your wife, kids.
Bro, for her, a break is going to Disney. That is not a break for me.
Right.
So, like, we did a vacation the other year where we went to New York City, and she loved it. We went on New Year's Eve. I mean, like, that's an environment where she thrives. Well, as a man, you're in downtown New York City, and I've got my mom who's afraid of slipping on ice. I've got my daughter who she was like all over everywhere, and I've got my wife. And as a man, I'm trying to protect all of them. And bro, that was stressful for me. That was stressful. I did not feel rested at all coming back for that.
That's called the stress of rest. How do you go somewhere to rest and then get stressed in the
right
in the middle of it?
Let me ask this: what's the vacation or that time that you felt the most rested and recovered coming back from?
Man, it'd have to be. This was right after Milo was born.
Mm-hmm.
We went to Arizona, and then we went to Arizona. My brother-in-law was stationed there at the time, and bro, just complete utter rest, man. We did a whole bunch of fun stuff too. Went to the Grand Canyon.
Yeah.
We went to Flagstaff. That was the name of. We went to Flagstaff. This is a mountain area. There was a cabin. We stayed up there. We hiked. Typically, bro, I'm not a type of dude when I'm vacationing for someone to pull out a binder and be like, all right, that's not. You know, to me, vacation is like, well, let's go with the flow. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
'Cause I'm trying to rest from all the planning. But this time, you know, it was planned and it was really relaxing.
So I'm weird like that. If it's just me and my wife, I want to just go with the flow. If there's more people involved than me and my wife, I want it line item by line item.
That makes sense.
What I find is that the more people are there for my family, the less anybody wants to make a decision. And so then all the decision making rests on me. And then you have that pressure of wanting to make sure that you make a decision that everyone else is going to like. When it's just me and my wife, she and I, just by ourselves, we can make a decision easy. Well, what do you want to do? Well, I think I like that or that or that. Okay, well, let's do that. We can make a decision easy. But once you add even a third person into the mix, the tension of decision making just exponentially increases. And the more people you add, man, the more I've found that I need like an itinerary, which is a hot button joke for my family because my wife will sometimes make those. So, but anyway.
Yeah, so there's the rest of decision. When it comes to that, bro, I naturally give that away.
Yeah.
I'm like, we'll do whatever, because I'm not trying to, you know what I mean, go through that.
Make a decision.
Nah,
Right.
bro. Hey, man, let me just. Ooh, there's a thought right there, right?
Yeah.
The rest and decision. What if we weren't always the one making decisions for our lives?
And I wonder if that's an aspect, because one of the things I was going to ask you is what made that vacation different than any others. But I wonder if the rest of making a decision is some of the rest that we as people really need.
That is because we constantly live in this, in the proclivity that we have to constantly, we're worrying and making decisions and doing all this stuff. And
I know Craig Rochelle talks about how decision fatigue is a real thing.
Oh, absolutely.
And one of the things that high-end leaders really do to mitigate that is like they pick out their clothes the night before and stuff like that, and they'll eat the exact same thing for breakfast every day, just so that they don't have to burn decision-making power for that day first thing. And I found that it's a real deal, decision-making fatigue. There have been days where I get to the end of the day, I'm like, yeah, don't ask me another thing. I do not want to make another decision.
And, you know, my wife and I communicate about that a lot.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, look, I'm decisioned out. I've been making too many big decisions today. I just need a break. So whatever you want for dinner,
I don't care.
I don't care. Yeah.
I'll make it. I'll jump in. I'll help.
I'll pick it up.
I'm just not deciding.
I'm just not deciding right now. Yeah, absolutely. And so in the Christian space, that's a lot of what we neglect. Jesus tells us, I think it's Matthew 28, and I'll paraphrase, I'm not remembering the verbiage, but come to me for I'll give you
rest.
My burden is easy, my yoke is easy, and indicating that, hey, bro, like, let me handle the life that I gave you. Man, what a paradox.
Yeah.
Like he gave us life and he wants to handle it for us.
Right.
In essence, Proverbs tells us, trust in the ways, lean not on your own understanding, but trust in the ways of the Lord. Again, I'm paraphrasing. But bro, that's
well, I think a lot of that comes right down to that idea of decision making, that God, through the pattern of his word and through the voice of his Holy Spirit, wants to help us to make decisions so that we don't run into that fatigue as quickly. And I personally, I look back on the days, now that we're having this conversation about that, I look back on those days where I have tried to make all these decisions in my own strength and how exhausted I feel at the end of it. And then I remember there are some days where I felt like God was really kind of walking the path, and maybe it was just more I was listening to him a little bit better, and get to the end of the day and look at how big of decisions that I've made and I don't feel as exhausted. And what's the difference? Well, maybe the difference was that I wasn't the one who was making all the decisions in those days. I was letting his voice override and be that strongest voice.
And that's, again, that's probably where a lot of us need to rest, a rest from the voices in our heads.
Right.
Like constantly Like we talked about this last week about fatherhood and, hey, I'm not a good dad.
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago, rather. I'm not a good dad. I'm not a good this. The struggle of comparison.
Right.
And now you get voices about, finances, relationships, so on and so forth. Man, let's shut it off. We got to shut it off.
Right.
The rest from decision. Ooh, that should be a sermon right there, bro.
It could be, yeah.
The rest from decision.
The rest from decision. So was there anything else about that trip to Arizona that just made it really restful?
Again, bro, watching my kids.
Yeah.
For me, that's it. Watching my kids. And Erica may have been pregnant. No, she wasn't pregnant. Watching my kids go through. She's always pregnant. Watching my kids see snow for the first time. Going to the Grand Canyon, see how amazed they are.
Yeah.
Being able to spend time with them. Those stuff was just really cool. And
Yeah.
I remember coming back from that trip super relaxed, bro.
Yeah.
Super relaxed. And to pair that with just recently, we went on a vacation. PK, we did nothing.
Yeah.
When I said, like, we did nothing. And I remember coming back, Pastor Brent looked at me and said, bro, you look well rested. Again,
Where'd you go?
we went to Orlando, got an Airbnb. There was a resort right across the street, literally across the street.
Just walked over to the resort and hung out at the pool.
Hung out by the pool. Bro, restful. I came back well rested. One, why? I wasn't making any decisions.
Right.
Wasn't making any decisions. And
Right.
that's not to say I was like lackadaisical.
Right.
But like there was like a moment where I put my brain off. I said, let me just enjoy my family, enjoy the company, because we had all of Erica's family there, and it was just spot on, bro.
So I think there are some big keys here that we can kind of toss out there. Rest is important, first of all.
Very vital.
We've got to make sure that we space time and make time in there to rest. And when you're going on summer vacation this year, I want to encourage all of us to take time to be intentional about creating spaces of rest, because you want to make sure that you are recovering well and able to step back into life with the energy that you need it. One of the ways that we can do that, I think, is to pre-plan. I think if you pre-plan, especially the more people that you have on a trip, on a vacation, the more planning is required.
Absolutely.
And if you can plan those things out and remove the decision fatigue that would happen, you'll give yourself really space to recover and to rest in those moments. And then I think if you can find something within that gives you joy, maybe the joy that you get is watching your kids have fun and experience new things. Maybe that joy is just, I know for my wife, she mentioned on this we did a little 4-day, 5-day thing over in Orlando, and her heart was full because she was surrounded by family. And so for her, she gets recharged when she's surrounded by family.
Right.
And she gets to experience the dynamics of our family and the laughter and the joy for that. And so maybe that's you experiencing that. We'll plan those things, because those things are things that will recharge you and help you to find rest. But it's important to find rest. Let me ask this question of you. What do you like when you don't have enough rest?
What am I like?
Yeah.
Grumpy, crabby, not on my A game, not effective in being the best person I can be. That's what bothers me. I can tell. I'm like, man, there's no drive, there's no motivation, there's no initiative, and so I'm just not I'm not the better version of myself. So if I were to grade it, I'm a D when I can be an A. You know what I'm saying? And so that's what's realized, and then everyone else realizes it, because it doesn't just affect you; it affects the people around you.
Yeah.
Lack of rest is sometimes it's not just for the individuals, for your family members, your friends, your coworkers. But like, yo, get some rest for my sake. You know what I mean? Right. But that's I'm just irritable easily, and ain't like that.
Yeah. So anything else you want to pass along to our audience about getting rest?
I'd say rest is vital.
Yeah.
We've mentioned that. We've been made that abundantly clear. It's vital, but understand that this is the rest of your life. You see what I did there? See, this is the rest of your life, and so make sure it's important. Find things that naturally push and drive and re-energize you, and whatever those things is, do it as much as you can. But I will say this little caveat, just a little side note. We are going to be on all audio platforms where you can not just watch us, but listen to us. So you'll be able to find us on iTunes, Spotify, and wherever you can get your podcasts.
We're going podcast, baby.
Podcast, baby. Not just video. We still want you to subscribe, hang out, share, YouTube and Facebook, but then we're going to be on all of the other
Don't
platforms.
rest from us.
Don't rest from us. You hear me?
Yeah, this is One-on-One with PK, and we're so thankful that you hung out with us today. Hope you have a great week. Later.
Love you.